Hey out there. This is May 24th, 2014. It's Memorial Day weekend to honor all the veterans that have fought, died, gotten maimed across America. And hanging above my head is a very suspect haze, resembling chemtrailing, the poisoning of our air and our atmosphere. You know, I make no bones about the fact that I am an intensely, acutely, profoundly, chronically frustrated man. And that sounds all pretty negative probably, but the good news is that I know the root cause of my misery, caused by my frustration. And that's what I wanted to talk about primarily today. And I'll probably touch on a few other subjects as I typically do, but that's the main subject I wanted to touch on. And it's probably no mystery to anybody that's watched a single one of my videos that I've discovered the root of all my misery and all the collective misery of decent humanity out there is the same. And it's money. Money. We were born on a prison planet controlled by the money masters. We're all incarcerated. We're interned in this prison planet. And money is the god of this planet for now. And it's been like this for a long time. And it's really worn out. It's torn and frayed. It's done. It's over. People are just now beginning to realize that this innocent notion that money was a great innovation invented to facilitate exchange is an absolute illusion, delusion. It's a fantasy. It's a lie from the pit of hell. Call it what you will. It was conjured up. Trickery, sorcery. It's all the same animal. And the only way humanity will ever be free, because depending on how you personally define freedom and liberty, depends on your outlook on money. Because there's one thing you need to be free of in order to truly be free, and that's to be free from coercion. In other words, to be forced to do something, not because it's necessary for your survival, but because it's necessary to keep the wheels of the establishment turning. To go along with the party line, which has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican or other party out there. The party line is the establishmentarian line. And all establishmentarians, whether they know it or not, are evil. It's that simple. And if you have an interest in keeping this system going, whether it be because you're benefiting from this current money-based reality somehow, or you believe someday that you will benefit from it, whatever the case may be, if you want to keep this thing patched together, even though it's completely full of holes, keep it going, even though it's destroying people's lives daily, and it's not working, it's never worked, and it never will work, then you're part of the problem. It's that simple. There's no in between. There's no gray area here. We all have to get it. We all have to understand how we're being run roughshod over by the elitist, hypocritical, Illuminati, murderous thug class. We've got to get to the bottom of it. And this is not about religion. Because if I talk about Satan, and we all know Satan is a very bad actor, a very bad character, we need know no more about it than understand the root of all evil, this competing God of this world, like Jesus spelled out. It is the money. And how do we get free from this money-based reality, this false God-based reality? There's only one way that I know of that we can gradually get away from it and render the God of this world, the money, and be free, is through sound currency. It's the one and only way. And what I'm talking about is progress. I'm talking about things like supply and demand. I'm talking about the fact that if humanity, as one giant collective working for a common good, and that common good again is freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from anybody being able to hold it over your head as a hammer and say, you either do this or these are the consequences. You either pay your rent, you either pay your mortgage, or this is going to happen to you. Okay? It shouldn't ought to be like that. And if good was in control, then it would not be like that. Just admit that basic fact. So how would it be? It's not beyond any of our ability to imagine a world where everybody is free. Nobody has an advantage. Nobody has an upper hand. There is no discrimination at all of any type. So if anybody out there wonders why it's so hard or impossible to have sound currency, understand it's not in the interest of the God of this world. You understand, freedom is not what he wants. Does he want the prisoners free when he's got them captive and he can use them for his purposes in any way he wants? No, he does not want you set free. And he's not stupid, he's not smart because he's an a-hole, but nevertheless, he knows what he wants. And what he wants is to subjugate others and exalt himself. He wants to remain in control of the people of this earth. Okay, so understand how he's got control of you. And the only hope you have to be free from the God of this world is through either sound currency or the return of Jesus. One way or another, good is coming. There is a very powerful force for good. And every single human being out there that really wants good in the marrow of their heart and their soul and their spirit, their mind, they want good. They want good not just for themselves and their children and their lineage. They want good for everybody. They get it. They understand that the most important thing that we can ever attain in this world is true happiness. And true happiness is comprised of many different components or facets. And one of those facets is freedom. We must be free. Free from what? Free from financial, economic tyranny imposed on us by the God of this world and all the establishmentarian minions out there. I don't care what bent you are, liberal, conservative, middle of the road. It doesn't matter to me what your religion is, your color, your national identity, anything. None of it matters to me. You're either on the side of humanity, on the side of the force for good, or you're on the other side, the side of inhumanity and the force for evil. Because this system is broken. It's broken 1,000 ways from Sunday. Okay, and there's no hope of putting it back together. We need a total collapse of the establishment. That's a reset. That's just like saying, hey, I can't fix this piece of electronics and I'm going to push the reset button. That's what I'm talking about. We need an absolute reset. And whether or not humanity is going to get this gently or forcefully, I don't know. I really don't know if there's going to be a lot of violence that's going to happen before the sea change, because this whole return of Jesus thing is about this monumental sea change, unprecedented in nature. In fact, it's called the end of one age and the beginning of a new age. And we all need to get concrete ideas in our own individual minds about what a society is going to look like after this sea change takes place. And it's described as heaven on earth. This is it. Once God cleansed the earth of all unrighteousness, all wickedness, and cast the evildoers down to a lower place known as hell. That's the great separation of souls, the segregation. Understand how profoundly different all the grand differences and all the minute differences are going to be ubiquitous. Everything. We're going to think differently. We're going to speak differently. We're going to feel differently 24/7, all the time, free from any money-based threat that you could have. That if you don't pay this bill, you don't get that. If you don't go out and serve properly the God of this world, then you don't get your business, then you don't get taken care of. You can't buy this commodity. You can't have this service. On and on and on. You understand? So how will it work? You be ruthlessly honest with yourself. That's all that's really important, because you don't have to answer to me or anybody other human being, but you have to answer to the one that owns your conscience, that gave you a heart and a soul, a spirit and a mind and a body. This is the source of every good quality, characteristic, and attribute. And when a human being is good, they're good because it was put in their heart to be good, and they accepted that challenge to be a good and decent, upright human being. So the first thing a lot of people would wonder, well, how would it work? Without money, who's going to go to work anymore? What are we all rich? Are we all poor? Well, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is that you're born rich, not because I say so or any government, any person says so. It's because if you look at things reasonably and logically, say, well, if there is this almighty God, which you've got to admit there's a lot of mystery, and that alone is enough. But you know certain things. You know you're born on a planet. You know that all men are created equal. We're all born equal. And that this planet belongs as much to you as me and anybody else. In which case, you've inherited all the infrastructure, all the factories, all this accumulated wealth that our ancestors have built up for us. Okay, it all belongs to you. So you've got to understand basically and fundamentally that you're born rich. That's the only true reality there is out there. And in that case, you're born free. You understand? You're not beholden to the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, or anybody else. Any of these elitist criminals that don't do squat for humanity. They sit out there and they just wreck things up. They just put burden upon humanity, and they're unwilling to lift any of it. Okay, they don't want to do nothing. They walk around in their ties and they talk and like they know what they're talking about. They're just mean, evil, wicked people, whether they know it or not, witting or unwitting. All these political class and the people, the grand puppeteers behind them, the moneyed class. Okay, these are the people that control the printing presses. These are the money printers. These are the money masters. These are the top criminals. These are the top Satanists. Whether they know they're Satanists or not, some of them do openly admit to worshiping Satan, or whether they're just unwitting minions, nevertheless, they are part of this establishment. Okay, these are the rulers of this world. And they use other lower minions like the mainstream media who are supposed to be educating the public as to what's going on out there when they control the content. They bend and twist stories the way they want to fit with their agenda and continually to decide the direction they want humanity to go, to corral us. And they won't report on stories that don't benefit them. It's all about controlling the storyline, the meme. And then you got the educational system involved in all this too. They're just as complicit as any of them, because people come out of college like they're these great learned people when really they haven't got an iota of true wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom. It's been the same wisdom for thousands of years. You've got to have basic fundamental wisdom, and it's not reading, writing, and arithmetic so much as it is just ethics, moral fiber, understanding the commonality that humanity has with one another, that we're in this thing together, and that literally what is good for you is good for me. Literally, what is bad for you is bad for me.